Welcome. We're going to go ahead and get started. We have a strict 1 o'clock, got to be out of here deadline. So, welcome to ITS Georgia, ARC. I'm Jenny Johnson, this year's president. Work for Kimley-Horn, is actually today's sponsor, so we're glad all y'all can make it. Just want to let any first-time attendees that are here today, we like to awkwardly let you stand up and introduce yourselves in front of everyone. So if you're brand new, feel free to stand up and we'll go around the room and let you introduce yourself, name, who you work for, that kind of stuff. We start over there.
My name is Addison Malouf. I'm with Kennesaw State University. Been doing some research on V2X, and I also work with Tiny Town in Alpharetta.
I'm Zoe Chang. I'm interning with Eva, and I run at Georgia Tech.
Benjamin Ruiz. I work with Atkins as a program consultant for certain.
Gary Allen, I'm interning with Kimley-Horn in Ann Arbor.
Yeah.
Amar Hoa. I'm a new intern in Arcadis, and I'm going to Kennesaw State.
Hey, I'm Donna. I do a good I work with Eddie Thomas.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Aaron Abshire. The company I'm with is Signal Point. We specialize in turnkey cellular networks and wireless communications.
Welcome. You're a new member, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yep. Perfect.
Hi, good afternoon. Monty Helmer with City Law, part of the Access Group, traffic management systems, automatic incident detection.
I'm Danny Kessler. I work with Stantec in the traffic design group.
Stuart Hutchings, Dumas Software Services in Alpharetta. We're participating in a bid with the federal government that involves ITS. It's new to us. I'm here to learn so that we can understand what our ITS counterparts will be doing if we're awarded the bid.
Awesome. Anybody else? Welcome, everybody. Also, we like to do, if you have any recent job changes or promotions or anything like that that you wanted to let the group know, feel free to stand up and announce those.
I'm Billy Kihei. Was going on with some things for a while. Worked out pretty good, but now I'm full-time faculty at Kennesaw State University, computer engineering, doing a lot of ITS research. Got 2 of the students here.
Awesome. Thanks, Billy.
Hey, Bel Patel. Some of you guys might know me on our top. I recently moved to Wolverton, leading your ITS group. So.
Awesome.
Josh Williams, I'm at Mike Baker.
Also a new member, correct?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I'm working on it.
See, I'm just laying on the guilt right there. So,
I've been, you're the fourth person.
Billy Stallcup, where is he? You can see him after the meeting to join.
No cookies.
And no cookies for you. Yeah.
I'm Joe Gillis. I'm still dating Combo Expansion Cities in this range to the TIA program.
Awesome. Anybody else? All right, well, we'll roll into our committee updates. Is D. Taylor here? Yeah, there he is. You want to give an update on the scholarships?
We've actually been coordinating, got the flyer out. We need to give it up to buildings to get it out. And we have actually gotten 1 application in already.
Sweet. Awesome. Yes, so for all you students, we have a scholarship program, ITS Georgia Scholarships. We do up to $15,000 this year we'll be giving out in scholarships. So be on the lookout for those. It's basically just an essay question, and if you win, you get to come back and present next year at one of our monthly meetings as well. So. Huh?
Are you going to let them know nominations are still open?
You can let them know right now.
Nominations still open till Friday, not this Friday, following Friday. So if you are interested in board of directors or president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, that's it, right?
Yeah, so all of our elections are open. Call for nominations is out. All of our officer positions are open. So president, vice president, treasurer, and secretary. It's 2-year terms. And then we also have 4 just board of director positions open, also 2-year terms. So we encourage self-nominating. If you want to nominate someone else, you're more than welcome to do that. Nominations close
August
August 8th,
Friday.
Friday, next Friday. So, yeah, nominate. Also, going off of that, awards, nominations open in 1 minute. So you should be getting an e-blast to your phones. We actually revamped the awards this year, so there's new categories, new descriptions. So we encourage you guys to go check those out and nominate projects and people who have made a difference in our industry and throughout our state. Again, those open tomorrow. Membership. I think Billy's here. Tom is not here today, but if you have any questions on membership, yeah, there he is. Billy's right there. Talk to Billy, talk to me. You get really good discounts for like annual meeting registration, things like that, promotion on our website. So we highly encourage you guys to join. Networking and social. I don't know if is Rachel here? Rachel's not here. So we have, our next event will be on Friday, August 16th. It will be from 5 to 7 p.m. at Monday Night Brewing, the West Midtown location. It's on a Friday night at Monday Night Brewing, just FYI, the 16th. Our first 20 people that attend will get a free flight. So I have been told that there are still some of those open, so hurry up and register. You'll get your first free flight for that. And then go ahead and mark your calendars. On Friday, September 6th is our joint Atlanta Braves game with ITE. We'll tailgate, things like that, and then go watch the game. Should be a lot of fun. We usually have about 70 to 80 people come out to that. So that'll be Friday, September 6th. Coming up in October 6th through the 8th, is our annual meeting. This year it'll be in Athens, Georgia. We got a lot of fun stuff, progressive dinner. We're going to go to Creature Comforts Brewery, the Georgian Hall for dinner. The technical committee is working hard. So far we have a really good technical program. Seems to just a lot of diversity there. So Chuck Bailey is back there. If you're interested in getting involved, I'm sure he could get you plugged in some form or fashion. Any other announcements from any committee members? I think I covered it all. With that being said, today our sponsor, Kimley-Horn, just provided the lunch and all that. We're gonna have the beautiful Mr. Fink come and I think he had a 30 slide presentation on all of the wonderful people that work at Kimley-Horn. So, and then I think he's gonna announce our speakers as well. So, Ken Fink.
There's some wonderful people that work at Kimley-Horn. So Kimley-Horn's been involved with ITS Georgia for a long time. It's been a great relationship. Obviously, Jenny is president. We've had board members. I was vice president twice and been on the board a number of years at different times. I actually ran for president and lost twice, which I'm not at all bitter about. One of them was Moeller, and I'm pretty sure he cheated. So anyway, it's been a great organization for us. We've been annual meeting sponsors. We've been involved, and it's been fantastic. So to tell you a little bit more about what Kimley-Horn is and what we do, for those of you who don't know, I've been with Kimley-Horn for about 26 years, and so it's been a really good run for me. They haven't figured me out yet to get rid of me, so that's a good thing. But we are a nationwide company. We're over 4,000 employees in 80 offices. We've got an office in Puerto Rico. We had an office in South Africa as well. And we're essentially full service. We started as a transportation engineering firm, though. That was our roots. We were founded by two people in Raleigh, North Carolina, a professor from NC State named Bill Horn, and a NCDOT employee named Bob Kimley. So that's the name, so Kimley and Horn, that's how it works. And then two other guys named Ed and Harold Bick, two brothers, is where we started in 1967 as a pure transportation firm, and then we just kind of grew from there. So as our core purpose is to provide an environment for people to flourish. We try to put our clients first, put them at the top of what our pyramid is, and just provide exceptional client service in everything that we do. And what we do. So like I said, we do a little bit of everything. On the ITS front, we run the full gamut on the ITS front, from ITS planning to design, architecture, networking, communications, just about everything. We touch it all. We even touch the software side a little bit as well with our kids product. So pretty full service. Some of our projects, I think you guys know of our top, we're involved with Ritso. We try to get pictures of our people in front of cabinets as much as possible, that kind of stuff. Really great relationship with GDOT. That's been fantastic, working with everybody through the municipalities that we work with Gwinnett County, Cobb County. So some really terrific projects. On the site civil side, Alpharetta City Center, we did Avalon. We do a lot of big box retail. We did Mercedes-Benz Stadium site civil. We did the Braves Stadium site civil. We actually did a Minnesota's stadium, the Falcons, and right now we're doing the Las Vegas Raiders. So we've got this little stadium thing that we do, which is pretty cool because all those are going to have Super Bowls as well. And of course, the Atlanta Beltline has been a big project for us, and we've been heavily involved in that as well. And then Capitol Square Extension, and that's it. And I'm not actually taking questions. And so, anyway, thank you guys for letting us be involved, and really enjoy the program. So, she said speakers. Am I introducing both of you? Sure. Why do I have a bio for you, Maria?
I'll just tell them who I am.
So Maria with ARC, Natalie with Kimley-Horn. I didn't know I was doing both. Sorry. Let me escape out
I
of
can,
that. Okay.
yeah, pull mine up. Thanks. That was great. So let me just get my presentation pulled up. Cool. So welcome to ARC again. We're always happy to host ITS Georgia. It is always a pleasure, although I fear that our accommodations are less fancy than what you are used to at this point. So I am Maria Roll. I work as a senior planner with the Atlanta Regional Commission. I primarily do transportation technology and operations planning, but I have a lot of other hats that I wear. I am also a co-lead of our Transportation Equity Advisory Group. I am helping manage our new Human Services Transportation Regional Demand Response Coordination Study, which is a really great name for a study. And I'm trying to help coordinate ARC's data governance policies internally and externally with our planning partners. So if you have any questions about any of that stuff, feel free to give me a ring. But today we're going to talk mostly about our regional TSM&O and ITS architecture update. I'm going to tag team it with Natalie, one of our consultants from Kimley-Horn, and let's dive right in. For those of you who are a little more unfamiliar with the ARC, the Transportation Department itself acts as the MPO for the Atlanta region, but we also have a lot of other functions, some federal, some state. All of them have different boundaries. It is very complicated, and I won't go through it, but just know that if you ask me for something, I might have to go to 3 different departments to figure out what you're talking about, but I'll get there in the end. One of our biggest projects as the Transportation Department and the MPO is to create the Regional Transportation Plan every 4 years. This year, we are upping our game from 2040 to 2050, which is very exciting. And the themes of the next RTP are going to be technology, transit expansion, and affordability, which leads to housing affordability and access to jobs. And the schedule for that is going to be public engagement starting October this year, and then adoption happening in February 2019. And the draft list of projects, which is I'm sure what most of you would be interested in, are currently being modeled, and we will have that list available to you when we go to public comment in October. If you want to participate at all in this process, we definitely encourage it. We have our website is atlantaregionsplan.org/update, and we have all of our participation activities loaded up on there. So go check it out. There's a bunch of different things to do, and we definitely encourage that participation around the region. So diving into the TSM&O plan update, we started off this plan with figuring out the vision and goals for the region. It had been a very long time since we had done a operations planning project, and it took getting the entire region together to convene everyone together to think about what those vision and goals were. So we came up with transportation systems will be managed and operated to optimize safe, reliable, and efficient travel for all system users, people, and freight, contributing to sustainable economic growth and high quality of life. And those main outcomes and goals that we identified in that statement are highlighting safety, reliable travel times, efficient and seamless travel, and equitable access both to information and efficient mobility options. And there are a lot of elements that go into obtaining those goals, which we highlight as an operations philosophy that concentrates on people and goods rather than vehicles, collaborating across jurisdictional boundaries, which no citizen really is aware when they cross a county line. They just want their car to keep working. So we want to bring all of those projects together. We want data sharing across different kinds of sectors and users. And we also want to inspire innovation and adaptability in all of our projects. So once we decided what our vision was, it was time to figure out what we already had. Natalie did a lot of this work specifically in finding the assets and mapping those that were mappable, listing out those that we could in spreadsheets. We found a lot of fiber, connected traffic signals, cameras, a lot of those ITS assets. We also went through our regional transit assets, which involve things like what kinds of communication assets they're using and how they're using them, the traveler information they're collecting and giving out, and what kind of field equipment they're using. So for the ITS architecture update, this was the first update we've had of this since 2004, so we basically had to scrap the entire old one and start from scratch. The current update is a lot more expansive than the last one was. We have more stakeholders, elements. We included connected vehicle technology in the architecture because that's starting to really take off across the region. And we have already, this website here, I'm going to take you to it in a minute to kind of show you around, but we've already gotten almost 100 comments back from people. So we are always looking for more comments, so please feel free. I'm just gonna hop in. The first thing you wanna do when you get to, oh, that's not up, huh? Well, oh, it's on my screen. Yeah, I'm not sure why that doesn't work. Is anyone an IT specialist? Extended screen? Drag it around, okay.
Take it over that way.
Oh, weird. Oh, God, okay, I'm not gonna be able to work this. Where's my mouse even?
Oh, here you go.
I do transportation technology, not computer technology. Oh, duplicate, that works.
Is this touchscreen?
No. Okay,
There. That should work now.
cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Perfect. Great. I got a bunch of engineers in the room. Okay, so this is where our draft ITS architecture lives.
Peachtree Center Avenue Northeast.
Oh,
Andrew Young International Boulevard.
we're navigating the architecture through Google Maps. So when you get here, this is where all of our web links will take you. You can go to this resources tab and click on how to use this website because that is extremely helpful with this amount of dense information. It'll tell you what all of the definitions of these things are. We have roles and responsibilities, elements, service package diagrams, and what is probably the most interesting, especially if you're a local government or a stakeholder, is you can go to the stakeholders, go to whoever you are, whoever you may be. So if you're from City of Marietta and you wanted to make sure that all of your service packages were right and all of your projects were being represented correctly, you can come here, make sure all of your projects are represented, go here through and look through your service packages to see that all the flows are correct. And there's a feedback button on every single page. We're still taking feedback, although we're probably going to wrap up pretty soon. So if you have any other comments, that's going to be great to get to us pretty quickly. This is also great if you want to put a new project in that you think might not be covered by the ITS architecture, which is a big no-no from the federal government. So you want to go check your, you might want to check your services or projects to make sure that it is, what your project is isn't out of line with what all of the other things in the architecture are, which is why we're being so militant about making sure those new project ideas are in the architecture, so we don't have to constantly update it when new things come out. Although we will do that, I promise. So that is the ITS architecture. Please let me know if you have comments, although I may direct you to the person who built it. Let's see. Yeah, this looks good. All right. So one of the things we have included in our TSM&O plan, which is not something that is typically included in TSM&O planning, is a data governance best practices report. And we really wanted to get a head start on thinking about all the data that's coming in and going out with this new technological future that we have in transportation. And the report is done. I can send it to whoever's interested in reading it. It's very interesting, not even just for ARC purposes, but it goes through kind of the broad strokes overviews. It goes through how different types of ways to build your own data governance policies, things like how to manage data life cycles, and then how regionally that would maybe look, since there are different ways to do data governance, whether it's just internal, whether it's statewide. So we looked at this one from a regional perspective, but I think everyone would probably get a lot out of it if you're looking at doing this within your own organization or your local government. So just let me know. We are free to share it. And I think it is probably one of the more interesting things that we've already gotten out of this process. And I'm going to pass it off to Natalie to talk about the second half of our project. So.
Hi, I'm Natalie Smuz-Miegelcook. I work with Kimley-Horn, and I just want to give a quick shout out to our other partners on this project. We are actually sub to ICF, and Luminor and Consistec are also partners in this contract. So we had the opportunity to help lead the pilot project solicitation and consideration. And so this was really exciting. We put out a call for project ideas and received a lot of really great feedback. We actually received 56 project ideas, which was really exciting. And it came from a variety of sources. So state, county, municipal, consultants and vendors, you all took notice and provided ideas. And so much so that we really hadn't anticipated quite that response. So we needed a way to really digest what those project ideas were and be able to consider. So we developed a screening assessment process where We took a high-level look at the pilot project ideas that were submitted, and then from there, we're going to work to refine the current prioritization process that ARC uses. So I'll just walk through those two processes so that you understand. And the reason why this is interesting and exciting is because this will shape how future pilot projects and really how those leading edge type of projects are considered within the region and determine how those are prioritized for funding purposes. So understanding that process thoroughly helps in progressing those projects that are important to you. So the pilot project screening assessment was really just meant for us to determine those projects to further consider. But we considered, is this a location-specific project? And if so, has a location been identified within the idea? Does it have a champion? Specifically with these types of projects, as we all know and can relate to, it's extremely challenging if there's not somebody that's leading the way, that's, pushing the envelope and excited and passionate about moving things forward. And then we also categorized by project type. So we initially categorized by vehicular mobility, freight, transit, bike ped shared, parking data, app, smart city, and we also have just another category. And so we further kind of took a high level look and considered costs, and just from a kind of high level perspective, do we think this is a low, medium, or high cost? Then we looked at how it fit in with the regional goals that were established at the beginning of this plan. So within safety, efficient, seamless travel, equitable access, and reliable travel times, does the given pilot project address one of those goals or support one of those goals or multiple goals? Complexity, so how difficult do we anticipate this project being? Not meaning that difficulty would necessarily be bad, just that it needed to be noted. And then regional impact. So from ARC's perspective and from a general investment perspective, it makes more sense to consider those projects that have a more regional impact in a lot of cases. And so again, high level consideration, high, medium, and low. And then we looked at conceptuality. And so this one was a little bit grayer of the area, but essentially, how refined is this idea that was submitted? Does this follow along with an existing infrastructure project that's already in place, or is it further refinement of a project, or is this a brand new idea that will require considerable study and research? And so from that point, what we're working on now is selecting 5 projects out of those 56 that were submitted based on the screening assessment to move along with further consideration. And what that really means is we're going to use those pilot project ideas to refine project prioritization methodology. And so that's what we're working on now. And so real quick, for those of you who are not familiar with the current TIP prioritization process, I'll just briefly go through that. So from a high level perspective, there's a call for projects that a lot of you will be familiar with. And then at the first kind of pass, there's key decision point 1. That's what the KDP 1 is referencing. And so essentially that's, does your project meet the requirements as specified by the TIP process? Then it can move into key decision point 2, which is the project evaluation. And that's the part that we're really focusing on to consider those projects that are a little bit outside of the box of what is typical, in consideration versus a traditional expansion project. And then key decision point 3, which is final factors, which also includes an assessment by ARC for consideration of benefit analysis and some other factors that are, considered as a committee type of situation. And then finally, funding decisions. So what gets funded and how it gets funded within the program. So we're going to focus on the project evaluation, and I'll just give a high level overview. The manual is shown on the left and is available online if you are interested in the finer details, or feel free to ask questions as well. But currently within the within the prioritization process, there is a project type that's designated for TSM&O roadway, and within that, the metrics are defined as to what's considered as part of the prioritization process. However, you can imagine that those metrics don't necessarily apply to all pilot project type scenarios. So for an app and other, for example, you don't necessarily have the same metrics that you would with a roadway project. And so that's part of what we're using the pilot projects to refine that process. Does all that make sense for everyone? Okay. And then another task that we are excited about is developing a local agency deployment guide. And so this is going to be essentially a reference for the regional community to reference for, what is TSM&O? How can I communicate that to my constituents? What are different TSM&O type strategies that I can deploy within my jurisdiction, and what are the things that I need to think about? So as part of the most recent workshop that we had, we did a little brainstorming exercise about, what's helpful to you all. And so one example that came out of there was example RFPs. And so you can kind of see what we envision those sections to be. So an introduction, and then a basic TSM&O strategies for you to be able to reference. And this is, it's actually going to be available to the whole region. So even in addition to those jurisdictions that are part of ARC, I hope that it's helpful for the whole community. As well as some implementation. And this is, kind of the systems engineering process, different considerations as your, concept of operations, or thinking through those decisions, and development within the technology type projects, data, and this will tie back into the data governance work within the contract and evolve over time as data governance will as well. And then funding opportunities. So if I'm a local jurisdiction, what are the different opportunities for me to think about to fund TSM&O type strategy projects, and what is the link, and how can I find out more information? And then general reference material. So next steps with the project are the refinement that I talked about through the further consideration of the pilot project ideas, development of the local agency guide, and development of the TSM&O plan itself. And so with that, I'm going to swap back with Maria.
Thanks. Good job. Okay, so this slide has a lot on it. We'll take it in bite-sized chunks. I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of an overview of how funding works when you get funding through ARC. This is all kind of back of the house stuff. It's not things that you need to know before you apply, but it's good to understand kind of where we're coming from sometimes. So funding opportunities for TSM&O are primarily made through state and local opportunities, mostly because state has a lot more money than we do, and local can be deployed so much faster than by using federal funds. But sometimes there are projects that are more expensive or at a large scale that really work better with federal funding, and then ARC can help with those. So a couple things I wanted to point out. STBG, that stands for Surface Transportation Block Grant. And that includes a lot of the safety projects. So a lot of the operations projects that are getting funded out of STBG are safety projects. There's also a big chunk of that we save for our livable centers initiatives. And that is usually those smaller projects that I think most of you may have heard of the LCI program. So we have several neighborhoods that are considered LCI areas, and they are eligible to receive funding from a pot of money we have set aside for LCI. So we are able to do some smaller projects with that pot. And relatively recently, LCI has linked up with Georgia Tech as part of the Smart Communities Challenge. And that is something that every year we are offering, they're doing applications for more technology-based solutions. And that's coming out of that LCI pot as well. So there are a lot of opportunities there. That is our biggest funding pot that we have available. There's also the CMAQ pot, which is congestion mitigation and air quality. And we use usually the CMAQ calculator, which is basically a spreadsheet that we insert a lot of the data, project data into, spits out some results on air quality, and we use some national standards for how that affects congestion for different things like changing an intersection to a roundabout, adding a left turn lane, things like that. Those operation type projects we're able to prioritize by using the CMAQ calculator. So when we're asking you for things like turning movements, that's usually where that data is getting placed during the project evaluation process. And then TAP is the Transportation Alternatives Program, and that's another one where you can get some safety projects. This is our lowest funding pot, so we usually use it for things like trails, but there are some opportunities there. And you don't necessarily need to know which pot of money you are applying to. We just get all the projects, we figure out which pots they would be eligible for, and we figure that out on the back end. But I just wanted to give you guys a bit of an overview of where that money is coming from. The downside of some of this funding is that it does have strings attached, just based off of federal funding requirements. So there's going to be some NEPA requirements in there, and it does usually take a bit longer for projects to get off the ground. One last thing. We are going to have a call for projects for this to update the next tip. So this is relevant for right now. So if you have some projects that you're interested in applying for in this next tips solicitation, I cannot remember what the schedule is for that. Do you remember? August 12th? Yeah. That's when the application will open. So keep your eye out on that. We'll have more information on that on our website. Okay, so this is the part where I ask you questions and you stop being engineers and talk. So we are going to have another Connect ATL Summit in 2020. We did skip 2019 just out of planning for bigger, better things. We are looking for topic ideas, and that is what I want you guys to give me some feedback on. Some ideas that we've already thrown about are connecting vehicles in the Atlanta region, which would be mostly about the connected vehicle directions that state and local governments are going. Creating an M-City in the Atlanta region, which M-City is a University of Michigan test track for connected and automated vehicles. They're doing a lot of crazy stuff over there. Peachtree Corners is creating its own test track basically right now. So we're thinking of highlighting their experience, lessons learned there. Another idea we had was having a private sector roundtable to talk about technology and the future. We are imagining anyone from tech startups to telecom companies coming in and talking kind of about their perspective on those topics. Now is where I ask you if there's any burning desires you would have to see some different topics at Connect ATL, if there's something that you think really needs addressed in the region that we would be able to make a session out of, or maybe even someone you'd like to see speaking. Yes.
Because nobody else. I think the thing that I would like to see is that I go to a lot of these various conferences associated with connected autonomous vehicles and so forth and so on. And we always get the DOTs presenting, the consultants presenting, the various vendor community presenting. The one thing that I think is missing is that none of that really matters unless Ford, Toyota, and Volvo, and the Teslas, and wherever else really has a need for that or really adopts it.
So the OEM perspective.
Really getting an OEM participation in that, to me, is the thing that will drive Connected Autonomous Summit to me as an important thing for me to listen to.
Absolutely.
Because I think that's missing out of a lot of other conferences that I go to. And there'll be one session that they'll have one guy that is saying something, but OEMs are going to drive this all together.
No pun intended. Got it. No, that's a great comment. I think that's something we are looking at. Yeah, I don't know that we have any speakers or participants lined up yet, so that is another thing you guys could help us with. If you have contacts at OEMs or any other sources, feel free to send them our way. Are there any other thoughts or suggestions? We are also, oh, go ahead.
I think Dr. Hunter did a great job the last day of the conference in St. Simon Square. Kind of bring a little reality to it. Like data quality, how much you've got to spend just to maintain these systems, what kind of expertise do you need? I think there's a lot of people that are hearing about this technology and they think that, you know, it's like going to Best Buy and buying an Alexa and now you have a smart home. There's a lot that goes in, there's a lot behind the scenes. And maybe an exploration to try to get a little reality to folks who are thinking about getting into this, that they're getting into something, the level of complexity of their maintenance is way beyond even a 4-bit signal system.
Yeah.
There's so much there, and what you're gonna have to work with, the IT people, the traffic professionals, everything else. It's a huge deal.
So like implementation challenges. Yeah, I think that would be a really good one too. I think we could find some people around the region that have had some of those headaches as well. I would love to speak about them.
I really hate to agree with Ron. About 20 years ago at an ITS America, Cadillac came in and presented on something that they were developing called Lone Star. And we were sitting there like, it's going to tell us when the airbags deploy, you know, and send out emergency. But connecting that with what Tom was saying, and then bringing in, like, how is Uber going to use these connected vehicles? They're planning, they've got a plan for that. You know, and then Uber is partnering with different universities and different research that they're doing. You kind of connect all the private sector together with how they're using, what they're doing for their research in those fields. Because it may not necessarily be in line with what we're doing. Quite frankly, a lot of times on our side of the world, we're not going to keep up with them because they're going to kind of keep it tight and close to their vest. So I kind of tend towards what are the providers looking at from an autonomous connected vehicle standpoint, and then what are the physical car manufacturers doing in that regard too? The Amazons doing in those regards.
Yeah. We are also thinking about opening it up to things like economic development panels. How does this affect job growth per se? So even outside of connected autonomous vehicle direct impact, there's a lot of indirect impacts. So anyone else?
is always a slightly contrarian view. I think that one of the things that you just have to consider as a topic is the concept of changing the method of contract. That the method of contract buys assets, we're consultants and software folks, and that's how ITS has run for 20 years. It's probable that connected autonomous vehicles are not going to be implementable and maintainable without transitioning to outcomes-based contracts. There's a number of folks who work in that area, including some standards areas that we're involved with. But that would be a real topic to consider on the business side. How are we going to deal with the business of this massively maintainable? It's like, well, the City of London is going to stand up a system of equal complexity to the AT&T cellular network. How on earth are we going to contract for that and maintain it? So this is where you talked about a culture of innovation and things like that. Potentially there's a sort of sessions or topics on the transition to outcomes-based contracting or new methods of contract, or how, in principle, are we going to do some of this?
Yeah, that's another good one for implementation as well. Well, I am very happy you guys had thoughts. I was worried that no one was going to say anything. So thank you so much for participating with me. We do have a website up. It's we don't have a lot of details yet about the next Connect ATL, but if you want to see what some of the sessions were like and who the speakers were last time, and you can check back for more information later at connectatl.org. So that is the end of our presentation. I have Kofi's information up here. I know a lot of you know him. He is on the ITS Georgia board. He is my boss. He knows all this stuff probably a lot better than I do. But you can email either of us if you have questions or comments about anything else. And if you have any other questions, go ahead.
Yeah, 2 slides back, you showed $30 million for CMAQ.
Yeah.
Is that for the whole region, all the projects that qualify, or is that just TSM&O qualified projects?
Oh no, that's all of these estimates are total.
That's the total CMAQ fund for the Atlanta region?
Yes, I don't know if this is annual. I think it is. That was definitely a Kofi question. He also made this slide. I think that is maybe how much we will have for the tip solicitation, but it's definitely not just operations. This is totals for each funding block. This is why I say the state and local governments are the ones really making the ball roll on a lot of these projects. We only have so much we can do with our little slice. Yeah, that's a good comment. All right, great. Thank you guys.
Thank you. I think Maria stepped in, yesterday, the day before? Kofi decided to go on vacation last minute, so kudos to you on stepping up, and thank you, Natalie. We have just a few minutes, just a reminder, we have to be out of here by 1, so if you want to network and talk, if you just step outside, I think there's another meeting in here after us, correct? Yeah, so just a couple of last minute reminders. Our next monthly meeting is actually going to be August 28th. It's going to be back at City Springs. We're actually having ITS America come in and do a technical workshop. It'll be from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. on cybersecurity basics. Should be really good. I've kind of let them know that we're all kind of in the industry, so they're going to kind of tailor it to be a little bit more in-depth and technical. That includes lunch. Next social event, August 16th, 5 to 7 at Monday Night Brewing. Braves game, Friday, September 6th. Award nominations are open. You should have just gotten an email for that. Election nominations are open until the 9th. So if all officers, 4 board of directors, and then our annual meeting, October 6th through the 8th, registration is open for conference, hotels, sponsorships, exhibitors, all of that, itsgeorgia.org. And that is all that I have. Thank you guys for coming. Y'all have a great day.